Hey guys, this is Oasis Tech Repairs, and today I'm gonna try something a little different. Hi, it's me, Mr. Oasis Tech Repair. I hate cameras. I don't like pictures, but I figured, hey, what better way to desensitize than, stick my face in front of a camera and make videos about computers? Um, the whole factor behind this was that what's the point of making a video of just talking while staring at a screen or while staring at a tech corner? Like, it's really kind of pointless. You want to have some sort of interaction. Hello. So, I did this because I'm doing something kind of big. I'm doing something I wouldn't usually do. And that is, I'm selling my EliteBook. My baby, who's been with me through much harsher Minecraft sessions than it probably should have, who's been through World of Tanks PC, I think, World of Tanks Blitz, definitely, Windows 10, Windows 11, Linux, Windows 10, and now a Windows 11, a fresh install, to go to a home that is not mine. Let's have a moment of silence for my beloved HP EliteBook. Alright, so why am I replacing my EliteBook? I'll tell you why. I'm getting myself a Macbook. And what better way to explain why I'm getting a MacBook than to explain what do people with MacBooks do? So, first of all, people with MacBooks web browse. That's a big part of it. People with MacBooks do video editing. That's a thing. People with MacBooks sometimes do a little light gaming. I mean, that's not a big selling point of MacBooks, but that's definitely a feature of them is the gaming. Or nice to have, if you will. They're not gaming laptops. They're not crazy like blow your socks off in Cyberpunk good. They get the job done. Um Another thing they're good for is schoolwork. There's a lot of schools that have MacBooks for students for schoolwork. Why? I have no clue. A student doesn't really need a MacBook, honestly. All they need is a Chromebook. But I'll touch on that in a bit. Um so next up, what do I do with my own laptop? I web browse. I play World of Tanks Blitz. That's literally it for gaming. I do schoolwork, and I consume media. I sit in front of a screen, I go on to Plex, utilize my friend's server, and I watch Family Guy, or I watch movies I haven't watched before because I'm horrible with movie watching. All of that can be done on a MacBook, too. And what do MacBooks have that Windows laptops don't? Good batteries. They have excellent batteries, and I think the table was kind of turned when I saw my friend with his MacBook. He's got a 2015 MacBook Air, and one of the A1466 models, the ones that have been made from 2012 to 2017 that will last you a lifetime and a half, and they're not super powerful. But it's on the original battery, and it still lasts 8 hours, which is crazy because this laptop right here was rated for 4 to 5, I think 4 to 6 hours of like actual usage, and that's already not good. but then you account for the fact that battery degradation happens, and this new Chinesium battery here only lasts the same amount of time as the original battery, like 2 hours off the charger at most. That's a good incentive to move to a MacBook when all I do is web browse and do light work. Um, what should I really get? Like, that's the thing too, is there's a lot of MacBooks. There's stuff that's viable from like 2012 with the old quad core socketed um i7s and stuff, that like the 3620 QMs, the like, that are super powerful. They're better than the 5th, 6th, 7th gen even i5 U series, because they're not U series. They consume like 45 watts to get that power. And I don't want that, obviously, but I don't want to spend $500 on a MacBook. So what I found is M1 MacBook Airs can be had for $200. They can be had for quite a cheap price, surprisingly. Um, and the toss up for me is, do I get a 2019 i7 MacBook with 16 gigs of RAM and like 500 gigs of storage, or do I get a 2020 MacBook Air with that Halo, that M1, but it's only got 8 gigs of RAM and it's only got 128 or 256 gig SSD. Um, that's my kind of dilemma here. Like, as I'll show you in a minute, the eBay sprawl is like a candy shop. You can look for MacBooks and you'll find everything under the sun at pretty much any price. Um, so that's that with the whole MacBook thing. So here's some alternatives, like some alternatives to the whole web browsing machine. Couldn't I have gotten a tablet? Couldn't I have gotten another Windows laptop? Couldn't I have gotten a Chromebook? And the big thing I'm going to touch on here is Chromebooks. So I have, it's not with me now, but I'll show you in a second. I'll actually show you right now. Give me a second. So I have with me right here my government issued Dell 3110 non 2-in-1 Chromebook. Thing's a beast. Thing is rugged. Thing is fast enough for what I need. I mean, this is the base model, or not the base model. This is the first model of Chromebook that we got that had 8 gigs of RAM, because we were running 3100s and 2-in-1s, 3100 2-in-1s with Celeron N4020s and 4 gigs of RAM. I had to turn two 3100s in because they're just too slow. That 4 gigs of RAM, they ate 3.75 gigabytes on startup. This, now that it has the overhead to work with, it eats 5.5, I think, on startup. Obviously leaving me with like 2.5 gigabytes to work with, which isn't great. So I don't want to get a Chromebook because they're too cheap. They're okay web browsing devices, but for what you pay for them, you can get a used MacBook. So now that I got my point across to you by means of Leaning Tower of laptops, I should probably explain what's my price range. So I'm selling my laptop for $150 with the laptop, obviously, the dock, and the charger. So I don't know if you guys know, I don't know if I showed you guys at all, but this thing came with the 2013 HP Ultra Slim docking station, which has 4 extra USB ports, 2 display ports, a VGA, Ethernet, and I think that's it. Obviously, not including the charger. But that's all going to be lumped into one thing, so that's why it's $150. Because otherwise, by themselves, this laptop is what, 11 years old now. It goes for barely $100. Yeah, it's like right at $100. So with that, I'm going to use that and maybe a little bit of my own money, or maybe sell something else. I've got my extra RAM because I had an extra 12 gigs from the original 8 gig stick that was in this, and then an extra 4 gig stick that I got from the all-in-one that I parted out. So I've got 12 gigs of RAM in here and the 240 gig SSD. So I took out my MP600 Micro. Another clip for the memes. It's an M.2, it's fine. It's not like it's gonna break something. So I've got this RAM, and I've got the SSD. The SSD was $93. I'm not lumping that in with that laptop. And then the RAM, this is 16 gigs. I'm gonna use it in something else. So there's the SSD that fell, and somewhere over here is the screw for the SSD that I left. Yeah, don't do that, folks. That's not a good idea. Don't drop your SSDs. Anyways, you guys get my point. I might sell extra parts to cover the extra, what, $50 that I'm willing to spend on a MacBook. But if I sell that for $150 and then sell something else to cover it, my intended budget for a MacBook is $200. That's, like I said, I can get an M1 MacBook Air for $200. And there's a pretty wide range of stuff that I can get at that price point. Like I said, MacBooks are not few and far between. I can get literally anything I want for nearly any price point. With that, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for witnessing my ugly face, shaking the crappy phone camera for like 13 minutes or however long it is when I finish editing this. Subscribe if you like tech. Leave a comment. Tell me what MacBook you have. Recommend MacBook specs for me. If I could find a 16 gig MacBook Air with the M1 that I can fix with like a dead battery or a broken screen or something, that'd be even better, so I can put a little money into a screen and then have a really good laptop. Like the video if I didn't say that already. Thank you for watching. Oasis Tech Repair, out.